Where to a putting that inside me? Lenore sat on the edge of the hay bale, her white cotton dress already streaked with the dust of the day. Hands rested on her knees and her eyes were wide but not afraid, just surprised. The way a woman gets when life still finds ways to catch her off guard after all these years. Thomas knelt in front of her, his old red bandana loose around his neck, his shirt sleeves rolled high, showing arms browned by 50 summers of honest work, held the long, thin, branding iron, not the red-hot kind from the forge, but one he had cooled in the rain barrel until it felt like well water against the skin. It LLB over quick, he said softly, his voice low, the way it always got when he was asking her to trust him. The same voice he used the night their first boy was born. Same voice he used when her mother passed and he sat beside her on the porch swing until Donnellan looked at the iron, then back at his ice-toast, grey-blue eyes that had watched her walk down the aisle in this very dress 40 years ago, back when it was new and white as fresh cream, back when her waist was smaller and his hair was darker. You sure about this? Thomas asked, letting a small smile show, because even now she liked to tease him a little, kept things from getting too heavy. Sure, he answered, I been carrying this mark my whole life. Cattle wear it proud, and you carried everything else for Meckledrin hard winter steer. The creek dread me stubborn hard time you wore. Something that says you're part of this place too. He turned the iron so she could see the chapanot, the big double T that went on the steer's butt, a smaller, prettier version to T's curled together like sweethearts. Leaning close, it had spent weeks in the shop after superfling and shaping while she thought he was just fixing harness. Elena felt her throat tighten it from fear, but from the kind of love that sneaks up quiet after decadist, kind that doesn't shout anymore, just settles in your bones like warm coffee on a cold morning. She remembered when they were young how he would lift her over mud puddles so her church shoes stayed clean, how he wrote her letters when he was away at the sale barn. He never once forgot her birthday, even when money was tight. She remembered the night he asked her to marry him right here by this same haystackenly. Then it was fresh cut June hay that smelled like green apple sand. He was so nervous his hands shook while he held out a little gold ring. Said he didn't have much, but what he had was hers forever now. Here they were, hair turning silver joints, talking back in the morning, children grown and gone to lives of their own, and still he found ways to say I love you that felt brand new. Go on then, she whispered, bore I change my mind and make you court me all over again. Thomas smiled, the slow smile that still made her stomach flutter just a little, pressed the cool iron gentle against the soft skin just above her ankle where the dress hem ended and her Sunday stockings began, held it there long enough for the shape to leave a faint shadow note, a burn of her, a burn, just a promise pressed into her like a kiss that wouldn't fade. There he said, pulling back and laying the iron in the grass. No, the land knows you, Minnie, and I'm yorsome as always. As always. Eleanor looked down at the pale outline, T's twined together, simple as that, and felt tears come easy the way they do when you're past pretending you're tough. She reached out and touched his cheek row with a dazed beard, felt the familiar shape of the man she had woken up beside for 4 decades. You old fool, she said, voice thickle. This time I thought the brand was on the cattle, turns out it was on my heart. The whole time. Thomas gathered her hands in his big warm hands that had pulled Calvis fixed fence shelled grandbaby, swiped her tears, and now carried this quiet offering. Some things, he said, didn't need fire to last, some things just need showing up day after day, year after year, until the showing up becomes the market. The sun was slipping low, painting the sky the color of peach preserver sand. The old log house stood peaceful behind them, smoke curling lazy from the chimney where supper simmered the same way it had every evening since they carried her over that threshold. Eleanor leaned forward and rested her forehead against his, breathed in the smell of hay and wood smoke and the man she knew better than her own self. Thank you, she said, for making me feel 18 again and 70 all at once. Thomas kissed her slow and certain way you kiss when you know there's no hurry, when tomorrow is promised, and the day after that too. They sat there on the hay ballet, old sweethearts with new mock. To the evening settled crickets starting their song, a horse nickering soft in the corralthy wind, moving gentle through the cottonwoods, and somewhere inside her chest Eleanor felt the years fold up neat and quiet. The hard times saw the laugh, the ordinary days that turned out to be miracles wrapped safe around that little shadow on her ankle. Proof ever she needed, he thought. Kindness doesn't always come loud, so many times it comes cool as well. Water held steady by a man who never stopped finding ways to sigh, oh, or homo, or loved you, or mine, and that was enough, more than enough for all the days they had left to share.